So good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today and for joining us for our Distinguished Speaker Series featuring Elaine LaLanne. We're very excited to have her here. My name is Nancy Walters. I'm the Executive Director of the La Jolla Community Center. And if you don't know about us, let me tell you a little bit about us. We are a nonprofit organization that serves adults and seniors in the community by providing quality adult programming that ranges from all sorts of wonderful classes and now virtual programs. But our mission is to promote lifelong learning, wellness, and friendship. And it is so important for us to live up to our mission now more than ever. And of course, due to COVID-19, we have transitioned to online and virtual learning, which is what you're all participating in now. And of course, we have also maintained some of the more conventional communication channels like mail and phone. But we are extremely excited to see the growing participation for our online programming, including our speaker series, our Wednesday Connect program, and a lot of our other free virtual classes that I recommend highly. I want to give a big thank you to Judy White, who is our underwriter for the Distinguished Speaker Series, and we could not have done this without her, so we're extremely grateful. And of course, if there is anyone out there who is interested in contributing and supporting the community center, please consider supporting us. So about Elaine LaLanne. Elaine is known as the First Lady of Physical Fitness, and she is a sparkling, vivacious, motivational speaker known and loved by many for her warmth, spontaneity, and personal inspiration to others. Even at 94, her appearances are dynamic and life-changing to people of all ages. Since her early days as a television pioneer and host, Elaine has lit up screens all over America. She was also an integral part of her husband Jack LaLanne's television programs, speaking, and other public engagements. Elaine has toured the country promoting her books, including her latest, If You Want to Live, Move, Putting the Boom Back into Boomers. At 94, Elaine maintains a unique insight towards nutrition and staying in good physical condition, and she hasn't slowed down. She can still do full body push-ups on command. Elaine will be sharing her tips for longevity and a healthy lifestyle. Please help me welcome Elaine LaLanne.
Well, thank you, Nancy, and happy Tuesday to all of you, and welcome to my welcome to my office. I'm delighted to be here, and you know, I heard you say about lifelong learning. And you are there and you're teaching them lifelong learning. And that's what it's all about, is lifelong learning. You know, Jack often used to say, life is a battlefield, but we have to learn how to battle it, you know. And I'm perking along pretty good at 94. I'm not as agile maybe as I was when I was 20, and neither one of us are. But I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I know that. First of all, I want to thank Barbara Graff, and I want to thank Glenn Rasmussen for inviting me to speak to you all. And they wanted to know about my life, and and Glenn said, be sure to give some exercises too. So that's what I'm here for. I want to talk to you as you're coming into my office and not me standing up and speaking to an audience, because I don't feel that you're my audience. I feel that you're my friend that's come into my home, and we're going to talk about life and what it's all about. I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I was a little girl that learned how to put cream on the table. Be sure now, Elaine, put cream on the table and butter on the table and sugar. And my father would say, I don't like the frosting. I said, well, I like the frosting, so I would eat all that frosting and sugar and whatnot. Well, as time went on, I joined, I learned to swim. And learning to swim, really, in life, you either sink or you swim. And so I didn't want to sink through life. I wanted to swim through life. I joined the Minneapolis Aqua Follies. I used to go over and practice at the University of Minnesota when I was going to high school. And then I graduated from high school, and this was during World War II, and we were having curfews, and we were having blackouts, and it was a miserable time. We had to have rationing. We couldn't have the things that the other kids did in school, and all our boys were leaving, and I had a boyfriend in that joined the Marines, and he passed away in Iwo Jima. So there was one of my first boom, in life, because I didn't know how to handle, all this war and death, and it was a devastating time. But the aqua folly seemed to still go on, and 1945 was my last time to swim. I went out took a vacation because of that. I thought, well, I'd like to see California, and so I took a vacation to see my cousins in California. So I went to California, and the war ended. So I stayed, and I went to UCLA NBC Radio Institute. I decided that I wanted to go into radio. Never heard of television, so I went to Los Angeles and took this course at UCLA NBC, and that led to me going to San Francisco, and then I joined a modeling agency, and through the modeling agency, that changed my whole life, because they sent me out. I was too short to be a runway model, so I went to this modeling agency, and they said, well, we want you to go out and to this television station. Now television is brand new, and television is going to come on at 6 o'clock at night, and they're going to have commercials, and this bread company is looking for somebody to do a commercial for them. So I went up to the transmitter, because there's no studios in those days. Anything you did in television, you had to go to the transmitter. And so you drive up into a mountain, and there would be a transmitter, and I would go in, and these beautiful girls from the modeling agency, and I thought, oh my goodness sakes, I'll never get this job. I mean, what in the world am I going to do with all these beautiful girls? I was the last one to go in, and I had to open the bread, and I brought it in with a sack, took it out and put it on the table, opened the bread, and then now smell the bread. Good. And that's what I did every night. I got the commercial and I did it every night. And through the modeling agency, I went to the Emporium in San Francisco, demonstrating 45 records. I just demonstrated all sorts of stuff at the conventions, but I blow torches and beds and hospital beds and all sorts of stuff. And I was at the Emporium telling people about the 45 record players. Look what you can do with it. Somebody said, can I get Bing Crosby? I said, no, you can get Perry Como, when he sounds just like him. And this fellow walked over to me and he said, how would you like to be on television? And I said, I'm starting a program, an hour and a half every day on KGO. And I'd like to have you come and talk to me about it. So I went to the radio station. His name was Les Malloy. He was a big guy, very popular in San Francisco. And so he said, I went to see him and he said, can you have a show ready by Tuesday? And I said, yes. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a clue. Um, so he said, call Bill Blake at the theater and you can get some guests there, and call this one and call that one and call that one. So I went up and he said, well, we're from the we're going to be doing the show from the transmitter, which is Sutro Mansion. And Sutro Mansion was a big mansion on top of this hill in San Francisco. And I went up there and I sat in the middle of the ballroom floor where we were going to do the show. And they gave me a phone and I started talking and asking people, and that's how it all started. And so this is a picture of me. Can you see this? And that's a picture of me on the show in San Francisco. From there, I got a call one day from Oakland, California, and this lady said, I've got this guy over here who could do push-ups through your whole show. And I said, oh, that's a good idea. And this was probably 1950 or late 1950. And so his name was Jack LaLanne. And so I booked him on the show, and he did push-ups through the whole show. And one week later, he was on the Art Baker's You Asked For It nationwide show. So now television is starting at 4:30 in the afternoon. So I was booking an hour-and-a-half show. We had a 12-piece orchestra that was left over from radio. And I booked the entire show. And today, if I was on an hour-and-a-half show, I would have a little producer for 3 minutes. Every 3 minutes when I've been on the Today Show, and you have your own producer, and that's 3 minutes. But I did the whole hour-and-a-half, booked the whole show. I've had J.C. Penney on, I've had Liberace, I've had every movie star, Joan Crawford. I had everybody that came to town in San Francisco. Well, Jack was a hit. And then all of a sudden in 1951, he came over to KGO and started his show. And so that was at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I would come in with my chocolate donut and my bear claw and my cigarette, and I would go back into the newsroom. The newsroom in those days was very small, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 5 people in there, two news people, and the producer of Jack's show, and me. So I decided that I was going to work out with Jack. So he was talking about his exercises, and I would walk in, as I say, with a cigarette and the donut, and he would walk over to my desk and he'd say, you know, you should be eating apples and bananas and oranges. If I didn't like you, I'd tell you. I said, oh yeah? But there was one thing he did. He brought a man over with a very big corporation, put on his show, and he says, I'm going to take 30 pounds off of you, that man, in 30 days. And he did. And I said, oh my gosh. I went home and I took all my clothes off and I said, the sands of time are shifting. I was in pretty good shape when I was swimming in the Minneapolis Aquafollies. But now it's a lot of years later. And my bus was sinking into my chest, into my waistline, and my legs were getting that washboard look. And so I said, well, this guy making some sense. And so he asked us if he wanted to join an exercise program at the during the uh, lunchtime. So I joined the I joined it. So there I am. There. This is in the back of my book. If you want to live, move. Putting the boom back in the boomers. But that was me in those days, and there's Jack again. You can see him doing the exercises for us. So anyway, that's how I met Jack LaLanne, and we he asked me to go out to dinner, and I and that was about 3 years later. And so I'm going to end this story with, we danced at a company party and we've been dancing ever since. So you can ask me more questions later on if you have some more questions about my life. But that's kind of how I met Jack, and we've laughed through life. You have to have a sense of humor through life. Um, you have to live and let live. Um, I I just I know that I've kind of told you my story, but you have a story. You have a story too, and and I don't know what your story is, but it's it can, your story can change your story can change your life. If you have a story that's kind of negative, but I don't think any of you at this, if at the you at the youth center, you see, actually you are at a youth center. It's might be a senior center, but you are very youthful. If you're going to that senior center, you're going to a youth center because you're getting more youthful. So if you are having any problems, it's very important to think about, there are two ways to go. There's two sides to every story. There's two sides to, there's four sides to a box, but there's two sides on each side. And there's so many, when you think about all the two things, two to tangle, two lanes. You might have four lanes, but there's two lanes this way and two lanes this way. So there's always a positive and a negative way to go through life. And so if you are, I lost my daughter when she was 21, and I just, I felt, oh, my life is over, and it's a tough thing to go through. But I could go two ways. I could go pity party part of me. I could go pity party, or I could go through life, because I had my life to live. And I just decided that she has gone on to the next expression of her life. And now she is doing what she has to do, and I'm got to do what I have to do. And she would never want me to have a pity party. So that's the road I took. I could have taken another road, but I decided to take this road, and a positive road. So there's positive and negative in everything that we do. So I'd love to hear your story. Your story is probably much better than mine, but I decided that I have to do what I have to do, and you have to do what you have to do. I got a call from Maria Shriver, and she asked me to do for her newspaper on Sundays. She has this newspaper online, and she said, you're lived to be this old, and I'd like to know, what 3 words would you say that have helped you? And well, of course, the first 3 words you think of is mind, body, and spirit. But I thought, well, let's see. Attitude. Number one would be attitude. Number two would be resistance. And number three would be consistency. And then, you know what? My son said to me, he said, "Well, Mom, that's your arc. A-R-C. That's an arc. So that's my arc of life." So my attitude towards having a positive attitude, because again, you can go either way. You can have a positive attitude or you can have a negative attitude. And so if you say, "I can't, I won't, oh, that'll never happen to me." Well, anything in life is possible if you make it happen, and you can make it happen if you believe that you can make it happen. But you have to believe that you can make it happen. So that attitude, you can change your attitude. You can change your habits. The only thing constant about life is change. So if you think that you can change a negative to a positive, you can, but you have to believe that you can. So that was my attitude. Resistance. Resistance is resisting the foods that are undermining your health. Resisting, you know, it's not what you do some of the time that counts. This is what Jack told me one time, and he said, "It's not what you do some of the time that counts. It's what you do most of the time that counts." So what do you do most of the time? How do you eat most of the time? So the fact is, I was talking to a lady one time, and she said, "You know, my husband, I'm just overweight, and my husband doesn't, you know, he's not paying much attention to me anymore. He's always telling me to lose weight, and so I'm just miserable." And I said, "Well, why don't you put your picture on the refrigerator door, and then and say, I don't want to look like that." And you know, I saw her a year or two later, and she said, "I've lost, you know, all 50 pounds, and I literally had so much, I couldn't even walk because I couldn't go up the stairs to the gym in Oakland because I was so miserable, and my body was so hurting me, and so I had arthritis all over." And she said, "I walked up I got out, I literally almost crawled up those stairs. I started working out, and it changed my whole life." So I know that a lot of you probably have that story too, that it's changed your whole life, going to the senior center and learning so much about what is going on in life and how to cope with life. So resisting the foods that are undermining your health, but resisting in exercise. In other words, let's everybody put their hand on their shoulder like this, and then put it out and touch your shoulder again and touch your, okay, now I want you to clench your fist real tight. Okay, now I want you to bring it up real slow, bring it up real slow, real slow. See what's happening? Right there, that muscle is working. You know why? It's because of the resistance you're giving it. And that's when you work out, if you have that resistance and you think into the muscle that you're working out, you're going to get the benefit of it. So resistance is my second one on that. And then on the third one is consistency. Being consistent on what you're doing. Anything that you do, but being consistent about your workouts and being consistent about your eating habits. and be asking yourself, what is this going to do for me? What is this going to do for me? I often think about that too. If you ask yourself that question, a lot of times you'll maybe think, oh, I'm going to put that in my mouth. What is this going to do for me? What you eat today is walking and talking tomorrow. So that's another thing that that was undermining, that can undermine your health. And then I was thinking about my arc. I have an arc now, but to live by, but maybe I'll add a H to it. So when you think about having an arc, and think about your arch of life, and if you do all these things, and if you do everything in moderation, you can't go wrong. Absolutely. So I added the H, and it became my arch, and the H stands for harmony. So if you do all these things, you end up with a lot of harmony. And it's very important to have a sense of humor. It's just make fun of everything. I mean, have fun and laugh and smile. A lot of the young people today, I went into the mail center the other day in our town, and this girl was sitting there. She was young, she was so pretty, and she was and she just sat there with us, and she added, and I walked in and I said, hi, and she, hello, and it's very important to have a smile on your face, because when you smile, you get a smile back. So that's how I feel. I'm always, my mother said I was born smiling, but I think it's very important to always have a smile on your face so somebody else will smile back at you. Another thing in life that I do is, and I think that it's important to think about, and that's introspection. Introspection is looking into yourself, and maybe give yourself a little criticism. I often talk to myself and say, it wasn't a very good thing that you did. Or I think it's very important that you look in yourself and how you're acting and how you're presenting yourself. So introspection is another one. When we talk about attitude, I wanted to read this to you. It's from Maya Angelou. And she says, if you don't like something, change it. You can't change it, but you can change your attitude. And so it's very important to be able to change your attitude. I'm always learning, and as I say, we can sink or swim with anything that we in life. So I always wanted to believe too that we should forgive. A lot of people will not forgive, and it's very important to learn to forgive. It's and don't rehash the past. Don't be a user. It's very, very, very important that I used to do this and I used to do that. Well, why don't you do it now? There's a lot of things that we come in life, like I can't do the things that I used to do. I've lost a lot my eye here I have a macular degeneration, and I've lost the middle of it. So I'm coping with this eye, and I'm writing a book. I'm writing another book. I've writing. I finished this book last year. If you want to live, move, and it's got all sorts of. We got borrowed wisdom in there. We've got it's. We want to put the boom back into the boomers, and it's 8 minutes a day, gets you on your way. So we only ask to start with 8 minutes. And then, of course, a lot of you are doing a lot more at the center with more than 8 minutes. But if you really want to get started, if you want to have a friend or whatever wants to get started, this is one way of doing it. We have with 3 parts to the book, and the parts are we've got renew, reshape, and refuel. So we're talking about renewing your spirit, renewing, getting back into and getting excited about doing and getting unhealthy. And then we go into reshaping. We've got exercises in the book. Uh, there there I am. I'm doing that's a wall push-up. There's Jack. He's doing bicycle, and but there's a lot of there's a there's something for everyone in this book. So I hope, and then we have a lot of I've got here's something that we've got on motivation. We've got little motivations in there too, and then the story of my a little, I call it Elaine and Jack's journey in the back of the book, and you saw some of the pictures. Uh, you saw some of the pictures of me. I thought maybe you'd get a kick out of this one, where Jack, there's Jack on his 70th birthday, pulling 70 boats with 70 people in the boats. So it tells all about his swims, and I think you'd probably enjoy that. I really feel that we should learn to visualize. We should learn to visualize what we want out of life. And visualization is very important because it's positive. It's becoming positive. When you visualize, you become positive. You know, a little story that I have in the book is I was a golfer, and I was in this tournament, and this tournament was I was really in contention, so I hit the ball into the sand trap, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, if I go into this sand trap, and I got worried about the sand trap, and I hit it again. I hit it. I didn't get out of the sand trap. I hit it again. I get out of the sand trap. Well, naturally, I lost the tournament, but I learned something from that. The next time I went out to play golf, I said, you know, I visualized myself going into that sand trap. And so the next time I went out to play golf, I visualized myself going right on top of that green next to the pin. And you know, I did. So I really feel that we have to learn to visualize. And so I think right now it's time to visualize yourself doing some exercises, and maybe we have some questions of people who would like to me to answer some questions for them.
Yes, Elaine. Glenn asks, Lala, can you still do push-ups?
Yes, I can, but I'm not going to do any right now. But but you know what? We can all do push-ups, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the one we can do right here. I mean, I showed you the wall push-ups on the book, but if you, I do this on the sink in the kitchen a lot, and I'll go down and I'll do push-ups like this. Now, if you can't do them with a straight body, you can do it, and you can do them on a chair too. You can do them on this chair. You can do a push-up on a chair and you can feet apart, going down and up and down and up. So that's great. I have other exercises I can do. Is there any other questions though? Or,
Yes, Elaine. And if for anybody else who has a question, please feel free to use the Q&A or the chat function, and we will make sure to get these questions asked. Barbara asks, what is the biggest problem you've seen with seniors starting an exercise program? What do you suggest to help that problem?
Getting them started is getting them motivated, and maybe giving them a little pep talk, number 26, and if 26 doesn't work, 27 might. But anyway, I think that if you show them and tell them about someone who has actually changed their life through it, make it simple. In other words, that's how Jack got started on his television, because made it simple. Everything in his shows were simple. And that's what I do too. I try to make it simple. Now, I think, we have 640 muscles in our body. And they all need to be worked. That was my son walking behind. That was my son. He was born in 1948. So, and I remember going up to the transmitter and putting my nails on and putting the polish on my nails about that time, because he was just a little tiny baby. Danny, you might as well say hello as you're walking through.
Hello, everyone. I just thought I'd throw that in there because that's a good one. That's a good answer to that question.
Well, Jack, he wanted me to tell you about this, back to basics. This is a chair these are all chair exercises. So if you can't get somebody started, you could give them a chair exercise. Well, if you just sit in a chair, this one rolls, so I'm going to use another chair over here. This one. Okay. You can you see me? Doing a bicycle. See, you sit in your chair and you can do a bicycle. Now, if you got an armchair, a lot of women are worried about the back of their arms. If you just pull yourself up and you're working the muscles in the back of your arms. Now, this is a lot of people will say, oh, I've got this. Well, you're probably not working them. So if you're sitting in an armchair, always get up and down this way. And then there's a lot of, and this is another good one for the back of the arms. There's, if you're getting started, you can always do running in place. But let me show you something for the face. You have 55 muscles in your face. Okay. Let's start here. Put your fingers on your bones right underneath your eyes. Okay, now close your eyes. Now do you feel those muscles working underneath your eyes? How about putting your hands on your eyebrows? Now close your eyes. Put your fingers on the sides of close your eyes. Can you feel this working here? See, all those muscles are working. Okay, how about this? How about this? And always, this is very important, especially when you're getting older, is opening your mouth wide. Because this seems to want to get tight here. And so this is a very good exercise where for the mouth and this. How about this? A lot of people have this problem with their chins. And now put your hand on your forehead and stick your chin out as far as you can, okay? And just go like this, and then go. And now put the pressure on your forehead and go down and up and down and up and down and up. I did this so much one time, everybody got sore, so I don't want you, if you haven't done it for a long time, you do a lot of it, it gets very sore. But like anything else, if you haven't been exercising and you overdo it, you're gonna be sore all over. Okay, so that's a great one for your chin and your neck. Now, how about your shoulders? Now put your shoulders up to your ears. Now bring your shoulders back and down. Shoulders up to your ears and back and down. Up to your ears, back and down. Another exercise for posture is pretend you've got a walnut between your shoulder blades and a walnut between your seat, and then we're going to lose our stomachs at the same time. Okay, everybody now pretend they've got a walnut between their shoulders and a walnut between their seat, and now on 3, 1, 2, 3, crack the walnut. Okay, now that's great for the posture. And now another exercise, your shoulders. We did this. Now we need to work our stomach muscles. So this. I have a gut and a butt, and this is my favorite one for gut and a butt. This is the gut and this is the butt. Okay, so now I want you to. Let's see if you can see this. Can you go in and out and in and out and in and out. And we don't want to get lopsided, so we have to do the other side. In and out and in and out. So there you go. That's a good one for your gut. Now how about your legs? Oh, well, how about, can you just squat a little bit? You go down this way, go down, squat, 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 squat. You see, I was doing exercise the other day on the doorknob because I was trying to show people that it doesn't make any difference where you are. I do it in the kitchen, I do it in my office, I do it in the, even the front door, I can do that. So those
Thank you, Elaine. We have another question. Lorraine asks, what is your diet like? Are you a vegetarian?
No, I'm not a vegetarian. Jack was one for 7 years. But he did eat fish and chicken and not chicken, but turkey he did sometimes. But I just do. Jack told me years ago, if I do everything in moderation, you can't go wrong. And that's what I do. I eat a lot of vegetables. I don't eat a lot of meat, but I do eat meat and fish. But it's not a lot. But my diet is mostly vegetables and fruit and things like that.
Thank you. Patricia asks, what do you think about yoga?
Oh, it's great. I meant to mention this too. It's very important to stretch. I do a lot of stretching, and yoga is see, there's just not one panacea. It's everything. So I do a lot of stretching, and especially in the kitchen. I'll stretch. I'll go like this and stretch my body, and I'll move, and I'll move. Especially when you get older. Oh, it's you kind of tighten up, and so then I'll cross my leg like this, and then I'll stretch this way, and I'll stretch this way. But I do, and in bed I do a lot of stretching in bed too. I just think yoga is just great. and it's very beneficial for keeping you supple.
Thank you. Ashley asks, which is more important when trying to achieve abs, watching what you eat or exercising more? Also, have you ever had abs at some point?
Have I ever had what at some point?
Abs.
Abs?
Yes.
Abs at one point. I don't know what she means by abs. I have abs.
Defined abdomen.
Oh, so there's nothing, one is not better than the other. Exercise is king, nutrition's queen, put them together and you got a kingdom. So I think one is as important as the other. You can't, there's a lot of people that just really believe in the the diet and just losing weight, and they don't do much in exercise. So life is balance, and that's what it's all about. Just balance. Balance them out. That's my answer.
The second part of her question was, did you ever have a defined abdomen? Did you ever?
Did I ever have a what?
A defined abdomen. Did you ever have abs? Did you work out your stomach enough to have that defined look?
Oh, to define? Yes. I mean, of course, I worked out with my abs, but I worked out the whole body. I mean, I didn't just think about abs, So
Great. Thank you.
Everything was just that question is not. I just don't understand. I think what she means is that she wants strong abs, but that's your core. And you do all those exercises correctly, you're going to have a good core and you're going to have good abs.
Great, thank you. Question from Barbara is, do you suggest eating before exercising? What would you recommend before a heavier workout?
I do not exercise before eating. I mean, I do not eat before exercising. Sometimes I have lightly, but I think you should work out and then have your. See, what I feel like is you have to earn your breakfast. You have to earn it. So earn it and work out.
Thank you. Linda asks, what is the best exercise to flatten your stomach?
The best one? Well, there's a lot of
to flatten your stomach.
Yeah, there's a lot of good. There's just not one that's going to be best. There's so many of them. The gut and the butt is one that I think is really a good one. The bicep, bringing your knees into this roll. So that's why I'm using the other chair. I don't want to roll back. This one is when you lift your legs in. I do a lot of jackknives, but I can't show you that because I can't get on the floor right now. But this exercise, but if you bring them into about the same, you bring them in together. This is a great exercise. Bring your knees into your chest, and that's a terrific one. And again, if you're sitting in a chair, that's a just sit and bring your knees in your chest. If you can't bring both in at the same time, start out with one and then bring in one at a time.
Thank you. Glenn asked, and you may have already shown us some of these, but he's asked, can you show us a few movements to loosen you up in the morning or before exercise, particularly for the lower back?
A good one for the lower back?
Yes, to get you loosened up in the morning.
Well, of course, if you get you loosened up in the morning, I would say that you would. I would do a little stretching first, but then something for the lower back would be this one, lifting your leg up and down and up. And when you lift your leg up, never ever jerk. So you want to just lift your leg, and when you lift your leg, you want to lift your head at the same time. So you want to lift your leg up and down, up and down, up and down. That's a good one for the lower back. And then I always, if you're in bed, you can always roll up, just roll up in a ball and hold your legs next, like this, in the bed. That's a good one. And then for the stretching the lower back.
That's wonderful. I don't see any other questions. We still have a little bit of time, so if anybody has any more questions, we are happy to take them. And let's see.
Well, I've enjoyed being with you today. I don't know if you've gained anything from it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just wanted to give it a little bit more time to see if anyone else had any questions, and I don't see them coming in, but I wanted to thank you so much for sharing your story and your arch. And of course, you're extremely inspiring to all of us, and it was a joy to listen to you. And we gave you a good workout though, right?
Oh, no, that's good. I love that. I love that part. I love the questions and answers because it's fun for me to do that. I'm not one who likes to talk about my life. All my life, I've built up somebody else. When I worked on television with Les Malloy, I built him up. I built the show up. I built and Jack and I've always talked about Jack and wanted to promote Jack, but I don't not a promoter myself. I want to tell everybody that I am writing another book, and it's called Pride and Discipline, the legacy of Jack LaLanne in his own words. And so it's going to be coming out maybe on his birthday, which is September 26th. But I think it's going to be fun for people to read. And I do hope that they will think about getting this. 8 minutes a day gets them on their way. And
where is that available, Elaine?
Well, it's available on Amazon, and then I can get it at Shop LaLanne. Actually, our website is jacklalanne.com, and this book is available there, but most people are getting it from Amazon. Okay.
Elaine, if they purchase it through your website, are you able to sign it? That was a question from one of the.
Yes. If they will, I'd love to sign it if they wanted to buy it. Yes. Okay. And it's available on Shop LaLanne. But but if not, if they don't see it there, a lot of people. I just got a book the other day, and I don't know. Somebody sent it to me, and they wanted me to. They didn't tell their name. I mean, I don't know the book is there for me to sign, but I don't know. So I hope whoever sent it to me, tells me who they are.
Elaine, I have another question. Place asks, did you ever live in Atherton Avenue? On Atherton Avenue?
No, that Atherton Avenue. No, that was Les Malloy that lived on Atherton Avenue that I worked for. But I didn't have that. I wasn't involved with him other than working for him and his wife. But I think that was in Northern California, right? I think
I'm not familiar, and it does not say, but so
yeah.
that was no. I have another question from Linda. She said, you are inspiring. Are there any other ways we can see you? Are you on YouTube, or what other ways can?
Well, yes, I'm on Facebook, and everybody's getting a kick out of all my stuff that I do. I do them in real fast, and it's kind of silly. And I said, oh, I don't even want to look at myself doing that. But anyway, I shall go into Facebook, my Elaine LaLanne or Jack LaLanne Facebook. And then I'm on Instagram too. I mean, I do this post. I don't do the posting, but I have it posted for me. But the gal that works for me, she says, do this, do that, you know, and then I do it in about a minute, and it's all just kind of ad lib. That's what I am. You got what you see is what you got, kids.
Great. Well, again, a big thank you to you, Elaine. Actually, I think I may have seen.
I just think that everyone should think about just just being themselves, and just being positive. That's what's so important in life. Is remember there's two sides to every story, two sides to everything, and you can be on the positive side or the negative side, and it's very important because if you think that way, you're going to have a happier life.
Absolutely. One more question, and this will be the last one. Patricia asked, is there any way to increase my 87-year-old mother's mobility? She uses a walker.
Well, you know, we're all getting, you know, when we get up, I found myself that I fell in December, and I twisted right here, and a dog bone was underneath the chair, and I looked around in this chair, and it fell, and it hit over there, and I twisted around in the chair, and it hit my head. I was like a great big egg on the back of my head. And as we get older, if things like that happen to us, then, you know, if we're not in shape and we don't have good bones and we don't eat correctly, then they're going to break. My bones evidently are good, but you do, I don't know how she can, other than just keeps doing a lot of walking with her walker. You know, I don't know the whole situation, so it's hard for me to say how she can increase it. But she should, if she's just walking here and there, she should try get her on a flat area so she can walk back and forth and get her stronger, so she could maybe help her. But I just, without knowing her situation, it's hard for me to tell her what to do.
Sure. Well, thank you again, Elaine. And a lot of the comments were not questions. They were just showing appreciation for you and Jack. And they were big fans of your show, and you were very helpful to them. So that was a lot of the comments made. So
that's great. Well, you know, we have a lot of his shows here. You know, a lot of people can't go out and work out. So we do have a volumes of his shows that are, you know, we have 10 volumes, which is like 50 shows, and each one is different, and there are shows that were shown, and they're all up to date, and they look like they were done today, and they can purchase that from our website too, and if you get those, a lot of people are buying them now because they can't go to their gym, or they're stuck in their houses. So if you want to see the old Jack LaLanne shows, and if you want to be really motivated, I'm not a motivator, but he was a motivator, I'll tell you that. So
yes, well, again, thank you so much, Elaine. And again, you can pick up a copy of Elaine's book on her website. It's shoplalaine.com, also available on Amazon. And before everybody logs off, I just wanted to share our next Distinguished Speaker Series is going to be in July, and I wanted to share that information with you. And it's going to be featuring Dr. Jacopo Anesi, and he will be speaking about the Brain Observatory, and that's going to be on Tuesday, July 14th at 10 a.m. He is the president and CEO of the Brain Observatory, which will be fascinating, learning a little bit more about the brain. So, and again, if anybody wants to participate in any of our free virtual classes, please visit ljcommunitycenter.org. There are classes available live, also on demand there, ranging from art to meditation and yoga and strength and flexibility. So I hope that many of you can join us there. And again, thank you so much, Elaine, and we hope you have a wonderful day. And
remember, everything starts in the mind.
thank you. Thank you so much.